Theoretically, an even much more paranoid conspiratorial phone call. Interview. Part 2. The Art Director. Hi, my name is Jorge Villacorta. I work as an art director in a movie, theoretically, an even much more paranoid conspiratorial phone call. And I was explaining that in this interview, I will display a number of rules that will allow you to understand why I think that this movie has a wonderful art design. I already explained that movies considered entertaining are an extension of the daily perception of the public, while movies considered as art are based on another principle that pays attention, not so much to the subject, but to the form of the movie. And by form, I will refer to the flow of filmmaking techniques. What is a filmmaking technique? For example, if you use the static camera, that's a technique. If you move your camera, that's another technique, because it is classified like that. Also, if you place your camera in a lower position, you are using your static camera at a lower position. But if you do something different, for example, you place your camera at a high point, you are using another viewpoint. Well, let's say that if we compare both shots, they have a different viewpoint towards the object. So, is this the same technique? Well, it may be classified as different techniques. Well, another thing, if you make a movie with one shot, that's a technique. If you use more than one shot, that's another technique, because there is an editing process. It doesn't mean that you cannot edit, and in fact you edit the image while you are using only one shot. But we should analyze what's going inside that shot. Okay, so it's a complex situation when you are trying to make it clear to your consciousness the number of film techniques you're using. So it's not simple. It's not complicated either. What is going on here is that one thing is to try to perceive what you are doing as a public. You identify with the characters, you feel sorry for them, you want a happy end, but that way of consumption is totally different than trying to look at what you are watching without identifying, without taking it seriously, without thinking that it is what apparently seems to be. It demands, well, this happens because a particular habitus, a particular social position, has the means to live without worrying about anything. So they can look at the things as if they were in a theater, in a theater, and they were looking at the things as a spectacle. But to create this social position, you need resources, and those resources, or this possibility to have those resources, is not available to everyone, or to most people. Therefore, the aesthetic distance is an attitude less extended that movies as entertainment or popular aesthetics, because it takes more resources to create it. Okay, knowing that, we should know that what we call modern art, probably you have seen this fascinating series of documentaries made by, it's a series, Hidden Hands, made by Frances Stoner Saunders, British scholar. Well, hidden hands. The first one is about art and the CIA, the Central Intelligence Agency, and how the agency promoted abstract art. And the story is fascinating. I don't want to go to the detail of the story, but I will try to summarize what I consider from a sociological viewpoint the most important aspect in in this situation. The main point is more or less like this. Big capital, by big capital in the United States, I am referring to what is called the military industrial complex. All those industries that profit from war, basically. Even though it is possible that there isn't a war, they will profit because they are building the tools to develop war. It's a huge industry, the main industry in the United States. So, what I'm saying is this, that the petit bourgeois, that little group of people who participate in the field of art, in Europe, were creating for several decades at the end of the 18th and beginning of the no, at the end of the 19th and beginning of the 20th century, the kind of art that was available to them. And by this I mean that due to the fact that the official art that are supported by the government, by the academia, had a particular style related to a particular amount of economic capital, social capital, symbolic capital, and cultural capital, they, in order to differentiate their product, because they had another way of living, they were creating styles that were different than this other official style. And they justified that through many discourses. But the main point is that they didn't have the same resources to create what they were doing as the creators of the official art. Therefore, because they couldn't do what the others were doing, they were doing their own thing and trying to commercialize that among people like them. Okay, so what I'm saying is this, that if you have different positions that are financing different styles of art, if you want to differentiate your own production, you can create a new style. What I'm just to understand how it works right now. Usually, commercial art is realistic in a particular sense, in this appealing sense that tries to sell you something, making it look like it is attractive. Okay, that's, I cannot elaborate more here. I could, but I won't. And if you look at art that is not attractive, that is ugly, that is repulsive, that is an art that seems to be incomprehensible because there are many lines, whatever. The main point in this art is not necessarily the subject, but how they are using the tools